Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar from enable.services and Sugar CRM. We're going to be going through, obviously, overcoming the biggest challenges in sales today, and I'd like to introduce my colleagues. My name, start with me. My name is Joe Bushnell. I'm a hands-on professional experienced in raising sales efficiency and sales productivity. I've been implementing best practice in sales, marketing, and service for about 18 years in CRM, work operating systems, and marketing suites. I'll pass it over to Ben Manning.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Joe. Unfortunately, I've suffered a hardware failure with my camera, so just the voice of God. I'm a product manager here at Enable, have been for the best part of 6 years now, specializing in Sugar CRM, system solution design, that sort of thing. I'm here to lend a hand to the guys. If you've got any questions, please absolutely feel free to post them in the chat. And if there's any that I can answer through the course of the afternoon, then I will do. Otherwise, there is a Q&A session at the end. So look forward to receiving those. I'll pass over to Tim.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. Tim Gale, Regional Sales Director at Sugar CRM. I've been in the world of sales now for circa sort of 11, 12 years. So have looked to overcome many of the challenges we're going to talk you through today, and looking forward to sharing some golden nuggets and walking you through some of the value add that we believe Sugar delivers to sales teams on a daily basis. So thank you very much.
Yes, Tim. So a little bit about Enable and a little bit about Sugar. So enable.services, who are we? So at enable.services, our mission is to make the best software in the world even better. We've been a trusted implementation and support partner for Sugar CRM for about 18 years, building a wealth of knowledge and experience. And our customers can expect a seamless experience when we're using our professional services. Our professional services team has a deep understanding of obviously all the Sugar architecture, being 18 years worth of experience there. And we try and create all of our customizations clean and to meet and exceed, obviously, our customers' mission critical CRM requirements. We cater to all customers, to be perfectly honest here, of all sizes. We have a rich experience in implementing on cloud and on-premise Sugar solutions, as well as offering our own UK hosting. We're here every step of the way for our customers, from licensing to training to custom development and integrations. We want to help, obviously, our customers, you, exceed. Okay.
Great, thank you. So a little bit on Sugar, founded back in 2004, so you can see that Enable have been on the journey with us almost from the get-go. Originally, Sugar was a CRM platform, and in recent years, it has evolved into an end-to-end customer experience platform, focusing primarily on the world of sales, but now complemented heavily through customer service capabilities and also marketing, as well as additional value add-ons, which you'll see some today. Our mission is to make the hard things simple. And when we say hard things are about running businesses, growing revenue, and most importantly for, I guess, the audience today, it's about engaging your sales team, driving user adoption, making every action in the CRM valuable. So removing data entry, focusing on value output, reducing the number of clicks it takes to get to the information you need to understand who your customers or prospects are and deliver the exceptional customer experiences that your organization is striving to achieve. So again, that's a very high level summary of Sugar, but you'll see now over the forthcoming minutes and sort of sessions that or what's the value that Sugar can bring. So I'm looking forward to walking you through the steps.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim.
So kicking things off, the start of everybody's day in the world of sales is understanding, well, what am I going to do today? What's important to me? And often teams have challenges, or sales management or sales professionals have challenges around understanding, what am I? What are my tasks today? What are my focus points? What is important to me in terms of where I need to go? First of all, and this is where dashboards really come and add value. So whether it's telling you what your calls are, your tasks are, what your pipeline, what accounts you haven't touched or customers you haven't spoken to for a while, or maybe giving sales management can see sort of a good overview of pipeline activity, or even predictive analytics based on revenue trends over a period of time to help you as an organization forecast more accurately. So we're going to move into a short video now that's going to show you effectively how Sugar can, the Sugar dashboards can deliver value. So first of all, you'll see the ease of personalization. And one of the main pain points that companies we speak to today really highlight, and historically, is around user adoption and having the ability to personalize a dashboard. So you can position where my active tasks are. You can choose what reports you want to see. So whilst it's an organization, you can standardize a dashboard. So all sales reps have these reports on the dashboard. Based on roles and permissions, that can determine actually what they can and can't see, and ultimately throughout the entire platform what they can and can't do. But if you decide that you want to give these sales reps and maybe as a management the permissions to do so, they can not only go away and report on or build reports at the back end of on Sugar, of basically on any fields that are in the system, including any external data, but furthermore, they can simply add that report, as you're seeing here, into the dashboard. So again, it comes back to that personalization. They're seeing what is important to them on a daily basis and making their life a lot easier. Now they can go ahead and drill straight into a report. And the value of this is that, again, we're minimizing the clicks. So we're not having to leave the dashboard to go off and find the information opportunities. We're not actually now having to leave this particular page that we've opened up here to maybe edit or preview an item. And you'll see this throughout the sort of forthcoming minutes and videos, how easy it is to navigate around Sugar, get a complete history through an audit log, change a value, gain access to some information, or even then, as you'll see in a second, start to move around and say, okay, so I've looked at the opportunities at this particular stage. Now I want to go and change, have a look at opportunities in another particular stage. Furthermore, for data accuracy purposes, it's fundamental to make life easy for your end users, because if they're not using, a phrase that I've always used in the world of sales, if you're only putting 40% of data in, you're only getting 40% of information out. And again, this is why having a system that's very simple and easy to navigate makes life so easy for sales reps, drive adoption, and ultimately will help them see the value that CRM is giving them. It's not about a system of data entry, it's about a system of value. Now, within Sugar, you can create as many dashboards as you like. So we've seen one previously, which is around sales management. This could be on renewals. So many an organization has to renew customers. So you want a system that's going to be telling you when a renewal is coming up, prompting you, enabling you to be proactive. And this is exactly what Sugar does. So not only will it send alerts, notifications to you on your daily dashboard, if and how you've set it up, but you can easily dive in and actually go and analyze the renewals console and identify who you need to speak to, why, what about, and when. And finally, you'll see throughout the platform, it is a consistent view across sales, marketing, and service. So you may want to have a little service dashboard as well. It's telling you about your customers. Are there any open cases? Because I can categorically tell you there's nothing worse than a sales rep ringing up a customer to try to sell them something without knowing that they're actually in a world of pain. And this is where the system will proactively give you that information, which helps you position your conversation accordingly.
Cheers, Tim. Thanks very much. So next slide is understanding your leads at a glance. So I use Sugar. So how I use Sugar is that when I come into Sugar, I don't want to have massive amounts of data. I want to actually have data what's relevant to me as a salesperson. I only want to see the dependent fields that mean something to me. So you can customize Sugar to actually just show you the information that you need to see and the filters and the list views that you need to see. But it's easy to get overwhelmed with trying to generate a high volume of leads. But how can you tell which ones are likely to convert? Having more isn't always better. In fact, bad leads are just a waste of time and money. Having a view and a way of interacting and updating those leads is a necessity. In a B2B sales environment, obviously most organizations are using the acronym CHAMP. And CHAMP is often the most effective way to measure lead generation. For example, the critical first stage in establishing any challenges for the client, isn't it? Without the problem, the solution is pointless and would therefore render your services pointless. What's the point in dealing with you? Obviously, next comes authority, where you map out the company structure and who's responsible for spending, followed by money, where the company's budget is concerned. Finally, prioritization is where you establish how far on the list they rank in terms of importance. The more urgent their need, the more they'll get prioritized, and the more likely you'll get them to close a sale, giving you a better quality lead. And generating the best high converting leads is all about understanding your customer and knowing how to measure their actions. With today's advancements in AI, like Sugar Predict, for instance, and holding big data, getting to know your leads is more accessible than ever. So really, when we look at Sugar, it's all about configuration. It's about total cost of ownership. It's about doing it yourself. So with Sugar, you can change these layouts, change these views. We're going to show you, obviously, and have a look how Sugar holds the data and how it holds it in around the leads kind of modules. But like I said, it's about personalization. It's about showing the information that is required from that salesperson rather than overloading them with lots of noise. So obviously, we're going to go through this video, and we're also going to go through the list views to start with. So the list views give you a consistent approach. Every single module inside Sugar has this list view, but this list view allows us to see, obviously, Sugar Predict, what's likely to close, what's not likely to close. We can also see preview, so we can quickly access that data, access that rich data to understand who we're looking at in that list view. We can also do things like reassigning a record or something like that. So if I wanted to reassign a record to maybe one of my colleagues, maybe I'm on the road, I can just quickly do that and press save, and that's going to alert that person to assist me. And that could be a task, it could be anything. You're collaborating inside Sugar, you're collaborating in the software. But if we keep on going, we can obviously see inline editing. So most people like to use kind of an Excel format of updating the requirements. So Sugar gives you the ability to really have multiple ways. I think there's actually about 6 different ways of editing records inside Sugar to keep that information rich and up to date. This is a focus drawer. Focus drawers allows us to pulling different types of information related to that record. So on the right hand side here, we can see a timeline view. We can see comment logs, internal collaboration, like I said, and we can see relatively records here as well. We can also on here create predefined filters. Predefined filters are brilliant when we're talking about obviously having information on the go. Maybe you're on the mobile app and you've got predefined filters. Maybe on the underground, you haven't got internet, and you can use the Sugar mobile app to go and find that lead who you were talking to, the latest notes or ad notes. Or maybe you just want to build new filters, and you can do this, and you can have and statements. I want it to do this and this and this. In this case, we're just going to build a filter for status of new. You'll see that upon me saving it and actually saving that, I'll see that status in that filter, it's going to change everything below to new. Upon me saving it as well, that's then available on my mobile app. So if I was out on the road, I could then see that as well. So it's easy to get the information and view that information. There's many different ways of obviously displaying it. And one of those displays is Kanban. So Kanban obviously is a view left to right on the statuses. Kanban also works with opportunities and things like this. But if we look at the statuses, we can drag and drop. We can use those predefined filters to shorten down this information. So we may want to have a filter what was just lead tools, for instance. And the last one is obviously Sugar Predict. I talked about AI. And Sugar Predict is all about AI. It's about looking at your data in the past and understanding and being able to say which, in this case, which leads are more likely to convert than other leads. So you can concentrate on the good instead of the bad. Going forwards, obviously, this field of AI is all the way through Sugar, and you don't have to follow it. You can choose to follow it. It's an assistance. It's not a replacement. So obviously, you're going to have your own points of view and your own ways of working. But Sugar is about your personalization, getting Sugar to work for you rather than you work for Sugar. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So diving into leads in more detail now. Typical challenges that sales reps complain about is obviously lead quality, but also certainly data quality. Often with challenges with adoption. It's because of confusing process, or maybe a rep not understanding exactly how they need to sort of qualify that lead. So, Joe mentioned Champ, we use Bant, we also have Medic, so there's different ways organizations operate. And as a sales rep, you may be moving around and coming into new organizations. So actually giving a bit of structure and cadence and governance, but also massively important is reducing admin, keeping things as light and as simple as possible to ensure that sales reps follow the correct processes and take leads through that lead to cash flow, as we all like to adhere to. So diving into the video now, we're going to show you how simple it is to enrich data in Sugar and then actually convert leads through. So working off a workbench, so the list view actually operates, as Joe's already demonstrated, like a workbench, and it helps you to navigate and find the leads you want to work on as simple as possible. And then we click into this lead, we can see an unknown gentleman. I believe he's sort of working out of his garage at the moment, coming in, he's showing an interest in one of our products and services. But what's happening here is, using our data enrichment tool, Sugar's going out to around about 100 data sources, putting in all the available information, and massively reduce it. It's doing a few things. Not only is it driving data accuracy, but it's also creating a lot of efficiency. So the amount of time your sales reps are probably trying to find telephone numbers maybe, or information that they can actually then speak to the lead about by searching, that research takes up a lot of time, but Sugar does it for you. I use it on a daily basis. So if I'm prospecting, I use Hint, as you can see there, to actually help me find mobile numbers, which means that I'm much more likely to actually be able to speak to that individual rather than them potentially just ignoring an email or a Facebook message, LinkedIn message. In terms of the guidance or guided selling, as we say, we've got a tool called Customer Journey, which can be applied throughout the platform, be it in leads, could be contact accounts, and also opportunities. And what it does, it applies structure. So as I was saying earlier around, maybe use Medic, or you could use Bant or Champ or whatever qualification process. What you can do here is you can actually determine what process the sales rep needs to follow to ensure that that lead is qualified correctly and at the standard you expect, which means that you're not getting a whole load of leads converted into opportunities that are unrealistic. One other key area that Sugar delivers, which adds a lot of value, is actually understanding the journey your prospect has been on. Because again, there's nothing worse than showing an interest in a company's products or services and actually speaking to a sales rep who knows nothing about you, knows nothing about what interests you have. So by being able to view that journey that you've just seen there from Sugar Market, you'll know what products or services they looked at on the website, how long. Therefore, that can shape a couple of things: the communication you have, but also any further content you choose to send to them to nurture and engage and encourage them to have that conversation to you. Now, once you decide that this lead, Jeff, you actually want to convert him through, it's a very straightforward process. Again, it's focusing on simplicity here. The system is naturally deduplicating, so it's flagging up any potential duplicates in the system, enables you to search for anything that may already exist. And if it hasn't and doesn't, then of course you can go ahead and create a new opportunity. Now, the other thing to highlight here, you don't have to have opportunities associated to leads being converted through. And the reason being is you may want to just convert a lead to add them to an account. But in this instance, we are encouraging an opportunity, which obviously ultimately will have a value associated with it. But one thing you must understand, as Joe alluded to earlier, you design Sugar around your business and your processes. So you determine what information you need to have entered into the system and ensure that Sugar reflects that accordingly. So once that lead has been converted through, you're now ready to go ahead, nurture that opportunity in the confidence that not only has it been qualified correctly, but the data is accurate and the processes have been followed accordingly, and therefore that's improving your pipeline accuracy.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Okay, so the 360-degree view. So 360-degree view, most people understand what that means, but let's go through it. So today's customers value personalization, and they want brands to know more about them in order to provide content of value and interest. This seamless sharing of data demonstrates professionalism and ensures the interactions with the consumer leaves little room for errors. It also means that each department are aligned with internal and external goals. So what is a 360-degree view? Well, It contains the past information. How have your customers interacted with your products or service before? A 360-degree view of your customer means that you can see all their history, their timeline events, and find meaningful information about them through hint and things like this. Also be able to see what their marketing activity was, where they've been clicking around your website, etc., and easily digest the facts about the customer. Obviously, we have the present. When a customer reaches out, regardless of the channel used, a company needs to know what's going on with that account and their stage of their buying cycle. And then obviously we have the future as well. By understanding the past and the present behaviors of a customer, businesses can take their findings and map a future relationship. Using digital intelligence, such as Sugar Discover, it's possible to tell if there are upsell and cross-sell opportunities going forward, and predictive analysis as well. So let's have a look at how feeling about a 360 view of that customer and how it looks inside Sugar. So first of all, we can go into list views, like I said earlier, on the leads module, but we have a list view of the accounts here, or the companies we're working with. And straight away, you can see that we can add Amazon, Jeff, to a nurture campaign. Maybe we want to do ABM or anything. You see how easy it is to add that person, that company to that ABM. If we were to go into the Amazon record, we can see a complete view of that record, from the business card, all the information about the company. We can just sort of see a really comprehensive view of all the communication touch points and the contacts, and also opportunities maybe of what the past and what are ongoing. So we can make sure that we're not maybe, we've got two people maybe on the same sale, for instance. We also see things like revenue line items, exactly what was inside those opportunities, what were we selling that person. You can see all these modules underneath. So Sugar is a relationship database. So it means that everything is related to something else. And in the company, the account is the heart of Sugar. So we can see everything obviously relating. In this case, we can see on the right-hand side, the account dashboard, our timeline of event, maybe our active subscriptions on renewals, etc., our purchase history. What have they been buying from us or not buying from us? It's the not buying is what sometimes is the issue, like they haven't purchased again. We can see the opportunities metrics. We can see what's outstanding, what's live in the actual prospecting, as well as, like Tim highlighted earlier, we've got service console here, so we can see what cases are open. So before we go on our account management calls or our QBRs, for instance, and get our ears bitten off because we didn't realize that something was open, they were complaining about something. So it gives us that full 360 view of that customer, whether it be, like I said, campaign engagement, Sugar market and nurture flows, to upsell, cross-sell opportunities, the previous purchase, to actually anything. And this is the beauty about Sugar, is that it gives you that one view of that customer record, whether that customer record be, in this case, an account or a contact or an opportunity or anything.
Great stuff. So obviously, once that lead is converted through, it's associated with an account, as Joe was just highlighting, and you can have a complete view of who you're talking to. But when you're actually starting to nurture that opportunity, and that opportunity obviously sits in your pipeline, it's important that you understand, well, what are the realistic chances of that opportunity closing? And also, what are the realistic chances of all of the opportunity closing? What I mean by that is, you can break opportunities down into products and services. And Joe alluded to line items, and we'll dive into that now. But when you are speaking to a customer, you need to understand the service element as well, which Joe said. So looking at the video, you're going to have a complete view of what is actually happening with the opportunity.
Sorry.
So we got the opportunity that we converted through, and you can see collaboration history as well. So any comments that have been ongoing with this particular opportunity. And as I alluded to, when you're building it out, you may want to add in multiple products, and the revenue line item concept in Sugar enables you to actually place products or services within the complete opportunity at different levels. So this one, we're going to include in our forecast, once you selected whichever product it is, And the product catalogs in Sugar will seamlessly sync with ERP platforms. So whilst you can have the product catalog managed out of Sugar, of course, it could be in the world of services or manufacturing. You may also have supply chain challenges. I don't know if you've paused the video there, Joe.
No, I haven't touched it. It's still going, I think. Sorry.
Okay, we're up and running. Yes, apologies about that. So, of course, by understanding exactly what the availability is, you can then go ahead and build out the opportunity and, of course, an associated quote with it. So, again, all the fields you're looking at here can be reflective of what you need to see as a sales rep within your organization, what's important to you. And furthermore, depending on, you may have 3 or 4 different sales departments all working in different divisions, and therefore they may need to see different information accordingly. And therefore, when they build out the opportunity, you have different types of fields associated. As you've seen already with the account overview, you get a complete overview of what is happening against this particular opportunity. You can have the opportunity timeline as well on the right-hand side. And of course, now once you've edited that, you've added that revenue line item in, it's very simple, utilizing inline edit to go ahead and update it accordingly. Now, as we're seeing here, a discount could be applied. That could trigger an approval process. So you, as a sales rep, may be allowed to discount up to 10%, but if it goes above 10, using Sugar's BPM, which Joe will touch upon shortly, that will then trigger an approval process that may well go through to management and so forth. As you see, it's a very simple click to now add in an additional line item. Now, the right-hand side, if you've got, again, the ERP integrated and if you've got the system set up accordingly, and many of our customers do, it will actually make recommendations. Like Joe said earlier, what products haven't been purchased recently, or maybe are recommended accordingly based on the products that have been purchased and already associated with the account. You can automatically add, as you saw earlier, add accounts directly into nurture campaigns. You can also do that directly from the opportunity module as well. If you want to add a contact associated with the opportunity into a nurture campaign to maybe encourage them about another product they haven't considered, then you can do that. We spoke earlier about guided selling, and the value of this, again, is ensuring that you're not rushing an opportunity through. There's nothing worse, again, of having opportunities sat at the stage that it's just unrealistic, or people are sandbagging, for example. As a sales manager, as you're really, one of the key drivers for you, for your accuracy, for your reporting further up into the business, is to be as accurate as possible. And therefore, having that guided selling is a really powerful tool, because you have trust in the system. Effectively, the platform is doing the work. The platform is telling and communicating and empowering the end user on what they need to do to take the opportunity through the sales stage. You've seen the opportunity timeline we already mentioned once, but maybe the opportunities are going on for a period of time. And of course, it may have different people working on that opportunity. And again, if you're a customer and you speak to a stakeholder inside an organization who's just standing in for a colleague for a couple of weeks, if you have to go through all of your reasons for potentially wanting to buy and what you're looking for, again, after already explaining that once, it does not make you feel wanted or needed. And there's every chance you may be walking away from that potential relationship. So having that information to hand, having that complete history, is much more likely is dramatically going to increase the likelihood of you actually winning that business, building that partnership, growing that account. And again, that's where Sugar really does excel, to empower your sales reps to execute on their sales processes accordingly.
Thank you. So when we talk about CRM and we talk about business process manager, what do exactly we mean by this? So a customer relationship management, CRM, obviously lets organizations build strong relationships with their customers. Whereas a BPM, a business process manager, defines logical methods to make businesses more time and cost efficient. Normally, these are two separate pieces of software. However, within Sugar, Sugar has embedded BPM, the power of BPM within inside platform. So some examples, for starters, having an integrated CRM BPM can make data accessible by storing it all in one place. Timely, accurate notifications. When a lead is generated for email, it can then delegate to a sales rep. In addition, other sales opportunities and transactions can be monitored. You can manage KPIs, key performance indicators. By combining CRM and BPM, relevant KPIs can be set and tracked. Obviously, you also got cross-functional collaboration. Different business processes can share maybe updates on product development, product costs, customer feedback, all in real time. And then obviously you just got just normal automation, as I call it, not BPM. Some processes like updating the contacts of customers or distribution of information for new employees can be automated. This results in better time and resource management. For Enable, how I use it and how I like to use it more than ever is when an opportunity maybe hasn't been touched within a certain time period, to alert the salesperson, make sure they haven't forgot about it, to move them on the stages, to move them on the actual process. And you can use BPM to do that. Okay, so when we're looking at BPM, like I said, process definitions is our BPM tool, and it gives us a list of all of those process definitions, which ones are status and enabled, which ones are disabled, and you can really run a BPM on any module inside Sugar. This one, for instance, is a lead routing. When a lead comes in, where is a person in the world, and depending on where the person is in the world, we're going to allocate them to the right team and assign that task to the right team without any interaction with anyone else. If they don't do something for a certain amount of time, we're going to alert someone to do X. But you can see this is all drag and drop. So we can put wait events, we can put messages, emails. This could be internal and external. And it's very easy, a drag and drop policy. If we look at another one, maybe approvals process. Tim highlighted discounts earlier. He said about a discount being a certain amount. Maybe that has to be approved by management. So you can see this is a very simple one where the supervisor has to approve a discount because a user has gone over that amount. So they would have on their dashboard, do you approve or not? And the supervisor would say yes or no, and that would take them through to an end result, an end routine. This is all done within a BPM, a business process manager. And like I said, this is all included in Sugar. The other one part of obviously Sugar is about total cost of ownership and obviously taking control of your system. Quite a lot of BPMs and CRMs, you have to go out and you have to speak to people like us, Enable. We want you to speak to us. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say don't speak to us, but a lot of companies want to take ownership themselves. So they want to be able to maybe create fields, create obviously workflows, etc. And Sugar gives you the ability to that. So you can obviously, you can bring down the TCO, like I said. You can create fields like this. And in this case, we're just going to create a quick field, maybe a drop-down field. But you can see there's about 20 different types of fields we can create, from highlights, what's a color field, to an action button when something happens, do this, to multi-select drop-downs, to currencies, to anything. And in this case, we're going to create a drop-down, like I said, and we're going to call it maybe health, maybe account health. In this case, obviously, I'm doing it as drop-down, but you may want to do it as a highlight field to make the colors. So obviously, it's more visual to the person. But in this case, we're just going to drop-down. So we're going to do good, and then bad, and then okay. Okay. On this actual field, you'll notice a couple of things here. We can also make a default value as blank so that other people don't obviously mass update and put everything to good. We can also make it auditable. So if it was good and it went to bad, that we can see who did that and when they changed it. We can also drive automations off that. If it was bad, maybe we want an escalation to tell the management of that it's bad. That's a BPM. We can also, like I said, make it required fields, mandatory, make it dependent fields. Show this because this field has been selected. Okay. At the end of the day, once we've saved this field, we need to bring it into our views. Our views are both not just the dashboard, what we're seeing here, the display, but also on mobile apps. There'll be certain fields that you want to show in your mobile app as well as your dashboard, or certain fields that you don't. In this case, we're just going to bring it into the dashboard views. So you can see that there's a filler on the right-hand side over there. We're just going to drop it in there. We could bring in new rows, we could take out fields. This is the beauty about Sugar, it's personalization, it's configuration, it's doing it for you, it's showing your terminology and how you work with Sugar. Okay, when we save it, the system, we would normally do this in a staging area or something like this. So obviously, it obviously is in the background, so to speak. Okay, but we're just going to save this record now and come through to it. And what will actually happen is we'll see our new field, and our new fields will be at the bottom here, and you can see account health with good, bad, and okay. And it took about 2 minutes to do that. And that's the speed of Sugar. So the speed of configuration, the speed of development is one of its own. What I would suggest is putting a change management process in internally, and maybe external with a consultant such as Enable or one of the other partners, or Sugar Direct. But you can deploy, you can customize, you can configure Sugar and make it work for you rather than you working for it. Okay, so obviously Ben has been on the chat, so I can see that. So Ben, have we got any questions for myself, Tim, and you, Ben?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we've had a couple of questions, as everybody was seeing in the public chat. Sarah, I will circle back on yours very shortly. There have been a couple raised not offline because we're online, but in the Q&A section. I'll just read them as written, to be honest. You've referenced Sugar Predict a few times here. Please, can you expand on how this works?
Yeah. Would you like me to take that one?
Go for it, mate.
Cool. Yeah, so Sugar Predict is, as Joe alluded to earlier, it's sort of our baked-in AI component, which is across the sales, service, and marketing modules within Sugar CRM. Now, depending on where you are in the platform, the AI will be obviously leveraging data, historic data, particular algorithms. It's always learning. Typically, we don't encourage you to maybe switch AI on right from the outset because it needs to have a decent amount of data to actually get predictability right. But proof in point is when Sugar CRM actually spoke to the company Node, who we acquired. We developed the AI tool, and Node requested some data from Sugar, and actually when they came back, their accuracy was at, I believe it was either 86 or 87%, which obviously then convinced the executive committee at Sugar to go ahead and invest. And it really is a game changer because unlike other platforms where they have different AI tools, it's the same AI component, and therefore it's learning across the entire customer journey. If that answers the question.
Thank you very much. Another one for either of you, I guess. A lot of CRMs have limitations across their platform, which results in an unpredictable TCO, total cost of ownership. How does Sugar compare with the other suppliers?
I'll answer this, if that's okay. So I can honestly say, hand on heart, across the 18 years of working with Sugar and implementing to well over 1,000 implementations now, Enable, we haven't actually hit a bit of requirement that we couldn't do with inside Sugar. Sugar's unlike other software solutions. You have the studio function, you can add, it doesn't have limitations of fields or modules. So accounts, opportunities, leads, they're modules. And you can add new ones. So if you were dealing with maybe, let's go for aircrafts. You may want to have an aircraft module, for instance, and you may want to then have relationships off those aircrafts. So we don't have that kind of limitation. We also have the ability, and we have a brilliant REST API, so we can integrate with other systems and we can push and pull information back and forth. The other part of Sugar is that software partners like ourselves can get to the back-end source code, and we can develop and code it and do custom development so that obviously what Sugar can't do out of the box. There may be certain applications, certain functionality that you require as a company, what is very much unique for yourselves. And we can assist you, scope it, and obviously develop it and implement it for you to obviously make Sugar more agile, more flexible for your needs. So back to that original questions, we don't actually have that issue of scalability And where it comes to TCO, obviously any in customization such as BPM or studios or layouts or views, you can do yourself. I would recommend being admin trained. If it's development, custom development, then obviously you would require someone, obviously a partner with that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I'll just add a little bit more to that. So just, I think from a commercial standpoint, the total cost of ownership at Sugar is traditionally lower. And again, as Joe is alluding to, whilst the platform itself has no true limitations in terms of configurability and how the platform can be utilized, in terms of hitting thresholds for API calls, hitting thresholds for workflows, hitting thresholds for custom modules or fields, there are no such things. So effectively, when you look to develop and build a partnership with Sugar, you've got that predictable total cost of ownership. And furthermore, because of the ease of back-end administration, that also enables you to deliver faster and quicker time to value. Because if your sales team is saying, we really want to track our win-loss regions or competitor intelligence, you have that change management process in-house, literally within minutes, although advisable, it needs to go through a couple of rounds of testing, within an hour or two, you can now have that field available. And therefore that can immediately start to deliver more value. And unlike other platforms where you have to go off and invest in maybe a day rate or whatever it may be to have that built in because of complexity, because it's legacy, you don't have that with Sugar. So I think that's a really important message. If you are looking into a platform and a partnership that's going to give you predictable and low total cost of ownership in a world that is spiraling of cost of living, suddenly the pennies are adding up, and therefore have that, having that comfort, I think is really important when investing in a long-term software partnership.
Thank you, guys. Had another question in. We currently use Monday.com. So can I check if Sugar CRM integrates within Monday.com?
Okay,
being Sugar CRM offers an enhanced platform. So if can I take this one?
You can. I might go on the end, but go ahead.
No problem. So typically the way that we would approach this, it's been mentioned in passing over the course of this afternoon. With Sugar's REST APIs, it's a powerful API which will allow both push and pull bi-directional integration with systems. So we could build a generic platform that would integrate with maybe multiple services. For example, we've just concluding building an integration with SMS platforms, and it doesn't matter whether you're using Twilio or any of the other systems out there. We're building it in such a way that you can just plug and play. The nature of Monday as a platform is that what Joe mentioned in his previous answer of scoping out your requirements, finding out exactly what it is that you would need the system to do, whether it is a push and a pull, or if it's one way or the other. We would sit down, we would find out exactly what you wanted to achieve, and then tell you the best way of going around it. Obviously, Sugar being a relational database means that it's easy for us to manipulate the data in whichever way is needed. But certainly in the instance of the Monday platform, it is possible to do an integration, but the nature of the flexibility of both platforms, we would need to really scope that out and make sure that we're nailing 100% of your 100% of your requirements. And the second question that Kelly asked there was, can we send a recording of the webinar? Yes, every attendee that registered will receive a copy of the webinar, then that'll probably be tomorrow. There is another question coming. This one's anonymous. Sales challenge. How to track sales rep activity and multiple budgets if you have one customer account but various sales reps assigned to it? Is customer journey a solution here? Tim.
Yeah, so I've seen that one, and I think I wouldn't necessarily say that customer journey is the solution. Sales activity, you can report on sales activity, and you can report on the sales activity associated to a particular account as well, based on sales rep. So we would, in this situation, and Joe may want to add a bit more flavor on top, but in this situation, we would look to run KPI reports based on activity, and activity could be calls made, could be emails sent, could be meetings held. Again, you can break that down based on what exactly you're looking to track. And then obviously you have that not only associated against sales reps, but then you can go a level deeper as well. If you actually want to track their activity against one particular account, then obviously you can run that report against the account.
Yeah, so just go on that KPI. So Enable, we've actually created a targets module, what allows you to create a KPI and a KPI for any module inside Sugar, and then the relationships automatically get created. So this is where I say at Enable, we extend the best in breeds of world-class software solutions that we obviously align to and we partner with. And this is an extension, an add-on that we've created in-house. Well, obviously we're sharing with our customers and sharing with the community. So that may also obviously assist, because you'd then be able to see obviously opportunity targets, KPIs, calls, meetings, anything, to be perfectly honest, anything, any module that needs to be KPI'd, you could push in place, as long as it has a field, an integer field or a start date field. You could do that. So did that answer your question? Did that answer the question?
It was an anonymous, so we must assume so.
Hopefully, touch wood.
There's another question which I think we may have already just broached there. How easy is it for Sugar to integrate into third-party applications? As Joe mentioned earlier, we yet to find a system that we couldn't integrate into. Certainly, the finance packages or the finance systems are very popular. So Sage 50, 200, Sage Accounting Cloud, I think it's called, QuickBooks Online, Xero, even Great Plains, which is one that not many people have heard of, we've built integrations for, as well as people's own custom e-commerce sites. We've also built integrations where orders and invoices and stuff are routed directly into and then straight back out of Sugar and sent out to the various distribution warehouses that need to be consulted.
Yeah, I think the fact that Sugar's built on an open API means it's often seen as an integration and platform of choice. And there's one customer I can think of that actually had 3 home-built systems that all needed to integrate into Sugar, and actually other sort of well-known CRM vendors were dismissed because of their API did not have that capability. So I think, again, whether it's something you can even do in-house, which we have many customers do take ownership, or of course you work with partners such as Enable, experienced partners like Enable, who have built these multiple integrations. And it's not just about building one integration, it's about building a future-proof integration that will maintain, because of course the software you're integrating into, that can get upgraded. And therefore you need to make sure that that integration is upgrade-proof and upgrade-safe. And again, that's where the team at Enable are very efficient, very effective, very well experienced. But in terms of, again, that self-administration and the ability to sort of continue to sort of own that tool yourself and have that confidence that it will scale and grow with you, then Sugar, certainly from an integration perspective, and I must reiterate, no limits to API calls, which is a very important statement, certainly makes Sugar a very future-proof platform. And just also to add that that data can be manipulated and presented in many different shapes and sizes down the right-hand side in the intelligence panel or in the core module, or of course you may want to have a BI tool sat inside your own dashboard in Sugar. So again, it's freedom of choice and ultimately what works for you as your business of how you want to position that third-party data.